Hello, welcome to another issue of hydroponic. Today I will try to introduce the concepts of artificial hummingbird algorithm and how you can solve optimization problem with the help of this algorithm, which is referred to as AHA algorithm in short. So what happens is this algorithm actually mimics the food foraging behavior of hummingbirds. As you know, hummingbirds uh, can fly very fast and it has a special ability to hover around its food source, that is the flower. And at the time of hovering, it can drink the nectar of the flower. So this is a special ability of hummingbirds, and it can it can fly in actual directions. That means if there is a 3D coordinates of x, y, and z, then these hummingbirds can fly in parallel to the x coordinate or y coordinate or z coordinate. It can even fly in a diagonal direction, that is from say the origin is 0, it can fly from 000 to 444 following the diagonal route. And it can also fly omnidirectionally. That means just the mirror image of the diagonal fly. So these flying patterns of hummingbirds are very special, and especially the omnidirectional flight can only be observed in this type of bird species. Now, the way the hummingbirds identifies food source and come back to the food source depends upon two things. One is quality of the nectar. That means uh, not only the content, uh, quantity of the nectar that a flower have, but it also depends upon the nectar refilling rate. And you know, hummingbird can memorize when and where they have visited to drink the nectar of a flower. So when and where they remember in their brain. And as per their calculation, they come back to that food source or return to the food source. So two things uh, make a flower very attractive to hummingbirds is the nectar refilling rate that I just told you. So if the nectar refilling rate is fast, then it is said the flower is fitter than the other flower which have a very slow nectar filling rate. Okay, so what happens is that uh, hummingbirds visits the flower and drink the nectar. It can remember when and where he has visited it, and then while coming back to the flower, and as you know that in one plant there can be multiple flowers. So within that plant, hummingbird will never come back to that flower which or nectar of which he has already drank. So he will first go for the next food source, right? Then to the next food source. And then when all the available flower of the plant is finished, then only he will come back to the first one. And within that time, the nectar has been refilled by the flower, so it will have adequate nectar to drink. So this is the mechanism, and you know, if a hummingbird is placed with multiple flowers, it will select that flower, which of course have a quality nectar, but also it will also observe that whether it has already visited those flowers or not. And if it has visited any one of the flowers, then it will definitely ignore that flower and select any other flower except that flower. So these two things, this nectar filling rate and this choice of flower source, is mimicked in the artificial hummingbird algorithms. So how it is mimicked? Now uh, this hummingbird's memory is replicated numerically with the help of a visiting table or visit table to be precise. What is that visit table? Visit table has separate columns for multiple food source, sorry, for each food source. If there are five flowers in a plant, then it will have five columns. If there are six flowers in a plant, then it will have six flowers. And for each of the hummingbird, there will be one row. So what happens? Suppose the hummingbird will come to that plant and drink nectar from one flower. Then what it does is, whenever that flower is visited, yeah, other flower which has not been visited is marked by incrementing the values of that table by one, right? So the flowers which it has not visited or not drank the nectar from, those the column of those flowers are incremented by one, right? So first time it visits suppose fourth flower. So fourth flower is zero, but all the other flowers, suppose it has six flowers, that plant, then all the other five flowers will be incremented by one. Then when second time the hummingbirds come, that same hummingbird come to the same plant, and then it drink from the second flower source, second flower. Then that second flower column will be converted to zero. If it is one, then it is zero. Or let us take it other way. Take it in this way that so when the second time the hummingbird has come, you see the flower which it has already visited, that is zero in the column of the column which it represents. But all the other column representing the other flower is one. So he has to select among these five flowers from which flower it will drink the nectar. So at that time, it preferred that flower which has a very high nectar refilling rate, right? So the flower with the highest nectar refilling rate, it will go and take the nectar from that flower because although it has not visited any of those flowers, but then what you will select? Why you will select the second flower or third flower? Because you have come here, you have visited here to drink the nectar. The flower with the highest nectar, you will always select that flower, right? So this is the way the hummingbird selects flower or its food source. And numerically, when it is replicated, this refilling rate, nectar refilling rate (NRR), is the fitness function. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about hummingbird. Another point, very important point to note is that hummingbird forage for food in three different ways. One is guided foraging, one is territorial foraging, and third is migrated foraging. In case of guided foraging, what happens is it is guided by the best flower. It is looking for a target flower which has the best nectar and the highest nectar refilling rate. And accordingly, for the search of that nectar, that optimal flower, it is coming back. But when it finds that flower, that optimal flower, and all the existing flower of us, say what all the existing flower sources exhausted, it has visited those flowers multiple times. Then what happens is it looks for another plant, right? Another territory. So he was first visiting one single plant having multiple flowers. Now it has drank the the nectars of those flowers multiple times. Now what happens? It sees that there is not enough nectar left on on that plant or that flowers of the plant. What it does is it shifts to another plant nearby for a search of a new food source or a new flower. This is known as territorial foraging. Third is migratory foraging, when it says that within the neighborhood, none of the plant has a good flower with a good nectar refilling rate. Then it quits that entire region and moves to another region far away. That is known as migratory foraging. Suppose in one location there are 10 plants with 10 flowers. So it has drank nectar from all the 100 flowers. And it knows that none of the flowers has adequate nectar to satisfy its uh, need. So what happens? It flows away from that place and it goes to a far away place and it finds some more plant with more flowers which are all new to him. So it start to drink from those flowers. So these are the three foraging behavior you can find in this hummingbird. So these behaviors are also mimicked in that numerical algorithm developed with the help of this behavior, food foraging behavior of hummingbirds. So let us discuss it in more detail with the help of example.